how to take your Claude Code setup to the next level. In this video, I'm going to share with you what has been working well in the last 2 or 3 weeks for me, and what is just fluff that I think that you shouldn't waste your time on working or testing. I've been building a lot with Claude Code in the last, since it actually was launched, but in the last 3 weeks, I've been testing a lot of different frameworks, a lot of different solutions, and I have conclusions regarding what is actually valuable and what is fluff, including my thoughts about Ralph Wiggum, which is all the rage in the last few days. So let me get started with what I'm testing, and I'm not sure how useful it is, but a lot of people are talking about these things, which is spec-driven repos. Now, the most popular repos at the moment are BMad and Get Shit Done, and I think there is value to both of them. But to be honest, I usually revert to using Claude Code in vanilla. But I think there is potential if you take a look and understand the underlying principles. So first of all, BMad is kind of they call it a breakthrough method for agile AI-driven development. And the thing about BMad, it allows you it has many custom commands, and it basically structures the whole process of building. So as you can see here, an AI-driven agile development framework with 21 specialized agents, 50 plus guided workflows, and scale adaptive intelligence that adjusts from bugs fixes to enterprise system. It's obviously free and open source. What I like about BMad is mostly the custom commands that they have implemented, and I use some of them very often. Let me show you how it looks like after installing. So you come here, let's open Claude, and then you have a ton of custom commands by BMad, as you can see here. So there are different workflows. You can edit an agent, you can you have like a code review custom command, narrative design workflow for story-driven games, etc., etc. So I think the custom commands are useful. Some people also use this in more comprehensive manner, but I don't feel that it's so useful in terms of really spinning all the agents, etc. I think it's very promising and seems very useful, but at a certain point in time, you just lose control of so many agents, and it becomes just the time that you need to orchestrate and manage makes it feel as if it doesn't make so much sense. The next solution, which is also in the same realm, is called Get Shit Done. And Get Shit Done claims that they are a lightweight and powerful meta prompting, context engineering, and spec-driven development system for Claude Code. What I like about Get Shit Done, and the idea that I took from Get Shit Done, is just basically generating a lot of markdown files with the context and all the atomic steps, or steps in the atom level of your task, and this way you kind of have better control of your context, and you're guiding the agent in a very clear and direct manner regarding the next task in hand, so it doesn't get confused or distracted. So I think this is something useful. I think you should definitely check both repos out and kind of take the principles that are relevant to your workflow. Next is Ralph Wiggum. Now, a lot of people are talking about Ralph Wiggum, and it's gaining a lot of traction. First of all, I think it's important to make a distinction between the Anthropic plugin and the original implementation. I have a few typos, never mind. So the Anthropic plugin, it's easier to start implementing it, but it has a very big downside that, in opposing to the original implementation, it doesn't avoid context sort. What do I mean by that? At the end of the day, we know that the models, the more context or the more tokens that they have, the performance is going to decline. Now, you want to avoid context decline, and you also want to avoid context compactation. What does context compactation means? Basically, when Claude Code and the model being used, let's say it's Opus 4.5, when it hits the end of the context window, it takes the whole context and it compacts it, which basically summarizes it, and in this way it loses a ton of context. So you want to avoid that. And what is happening in the original implementation is that it avoids getting to the point of compactation, and instead of keeping on running the Ralph loop within the same conversation, which is what happens in the Anthropic plugin, it actually spins a new terminal and a new instance of a Ralph loop, but the difference is the fact that it has all the context saved in the progress MD or the plan or whichever markdown file. So basically you control the context because it is in a file, and you avoid context rot because you never hit the point of compacting the conversation. Now, for what I've used Ralph Wiggum is for generating, I call it slop, but for example, I generated for my website 500 blog posts, and it wasn't so important for me to validate them or make sure that they are on point. So I just told Ralph, here's a list of keywords, generate 500 blog posts. So it spinned 15 different agents. Each agent took a certain amount of posts. I don't know, it was like 20 of them, and it started generating everything. Then obviously it generated the sitemap, and then I made sure that everything is working, and I just sent the sitemap in Google Search Console. It's actually been yielding, I think in the last week or so, it has created like 2,000 impressions, which is nice because it just started indexing. Not a large amount of clicks, I'd say 1% of clicks from these impressions, but anyway, these impressions are interesting because I know what people are looking for. Obviously, I could have used a Google Keyword Planner to understand, or SEMrush, stuff like this, but still nice. Another usage that I've did with Ralph is for generating stuff that I don't really care about, but I don't mind having it run at night. So I created this internal tool that basically helps me with automating outreach and commenting in LinkedIn. So since I don't really care about this, and it's not like my core product, I just used Ralph to do it. Now, something that I've been adding lately is breaking down Ralph loops to certain tasks or goals or proposals. So what I've been doing is I created a Ralph loop only for auditing the app, then only for planning the app based on the audit, then only for execution, and then a Ralph loop only for validation. Validation can be anything from unit testing, end-to-end test. Everything is obviously connected to Playwright MCP because we need to validate the front end as well. Now, in terms of Ralph loops, in general, I see a lot of permutations are popping up. I haven't seen anything that has been useful so far. I've tested a few. At the moment, it seems like they are all just spin-offs and kind of a waste of time. So I'm not going to test anything else until I see like big social proof or I see people starting to talk about it. And I advise you to do so as well because it's very easy or very tempting to follow the next shiny object, but in terms of the Ralph or something more autonomous, but I believe that it's mostly fluff, so avoid that. And I see a lot of smart devs that are producing a ton of this slop. They have like a very comprehensive GitHub repositories with very comprehensive and what seems complex README about how the repo is working and memory management, context management, 60,000 different agents, blah, 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 how it burned a ton of tokens, but eventually it yielded results and you can steer the agent, etc., etc. What I most often see is when I research these things, whether I look in the issues of the GitHub repository or I read about it in Reddit, I see that when the authors are being confronted, basically they are saying, you don't understand, this is just an experimental project. The current models are not there yet, but when the models will be there, you'll see that this method will flourish, etc., etc. So yeah, I don't know if it's true or not. It seems to be working for a few smart devs. I won't name them. But if you're busy building and not researching, I don't advise wasting time with this type of stuff. Let me take a break. Now, moving forward to what is working. This is based on my impression, and obviously if you have anything else, please feel free to add it to the comment section. First of all, Postog. And what I did with Postog for my app, I just made sure that I have all the events in Postog firing from my code base. This way, I have very good observability into what's happening in my app. So I have 2 custom commands that I do every morning. Let me show you. It's this one, I believe, yes. So one command is Postog data, and then I tell it Postog data last 14 days, for example. And then it generates an analysis of certain data, because it has everything in my app actually has events, and then it analyzes all the events and it gives me data based on my questions. So this instance, I just built an end-to-end workflow, which is a lead magnet, and I asked it to analyze what's going on in this lead magnet. So it generated a code and it connected to Postog, and it told me the short answer: no, 0 conversions. So 34 people visited the page, 0 signups, 34 people just browsed and left. These are the sources: LinkedIn, Direct, Google, etc. And it then provides me with a suggestion. Obviously, as I said, you can adjust this, but the fact that everything is connected to Postog and all events are mapped gives me a lot of possibility to mess around with the data and analyze what's going on. Another thing that I've been using is similar command, almost similar, Postog errors, and this goes directly to the error section in Postog, and it gives me an error analysis. So Postog errors last 7 days, and it gives me all the errors in the last 7 days. Let me show you how it looks like over here. Yes, so let's see. Up. Okay, so yeah, it analyzed the network, analyzed all 4 errors. Here's the summary. So here's the summary of the errors. Then it also breaks down what is critical, what is in medium urgency, etc. And then I told it to start fixing because it is connected to the code base as well. Yes, so this is very valuable. Next, what you want to have is also a connection to the database to consolidate data from Postog, see if Postog Analytics is actually sending the accurate data similar to what you have in a database. So I also have all the events in the database and I compare between them. And the next thing, which is obviously very crucial, is front-end analysis and error, or may I call it UX analysis via Playwright. So I use the Playwright MCP all the time. The benefit of using Playwright is it can navigate your website. It is also connected to the dev tools, so it can analyze what's going on in the console, etc. Next thing that is working very well for me is a reinforce skill. And reinforce is a custom command that I generated. And basically the guidance for the command is take a look at our latest code changes and create 5 different adversarial agents, each one for a different purpose. First one analyzes the UX UI. Second one analyzes security. Third one analyzes performance. Fourth one creates unit test, and the fifth one I don't remember exactly what it does. And I tell it that it should do at least 5 iterations of fixing what's going on, what we've built. And why is this? First of all, you want to create an adversarial agent with new context to analyze the code. This is obvious. Second thing is I noticed that doing only one iteration isn't enough, and you must guide each agent to look at different aspects of the code changes, and this yields better results. Let me show you over here. So after we did the analysis, the error analysis, we have here all the changes that were written by the reinforced code, and as you can see here, it gives me a breakdown. Okay, reinforcement summary, files reviewed 4, total issues found 24, issues fixed 12, iterations completed 5. Okay, so these are the dimensions: bugs and logic, security, performance, UX, UI, and QA and code quality. And it gives me this table: found, fixed, and remaining. It told me exactly what happened in each iteration and what is left. Please fix what's left. Make sure we're building it backwards compatible. I often tell it to use it to make sure that it's backwards compatible, then it won't break anything. Moving forward, so we discussed this. Tmax for multiple terminal. I did a video about this a few days ago. So at the moment, whenever I open WSL, it automatically opens Tmax, which is very valuable for working in various terminals in the same time. As you can see, you can create different panes. You can rename each pane. So let's call it YouTube. Let's call this one post hog. This one QA and error analysis. The best practice is whenever you create a new pane, I cannot have no spaces, QA. Whenever you create a new pane, you just make sure to update the name. So this is very valuable, very convenient, because if you want, you can also zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, etc. And there are many different things that you can do. I customize the whole. This is like a menu that I created. Claude Code created for me in order to customize this and make it very easy to navigate, whether I want it with the keyboard shortcuts or with the mouse. Moving forward, Tmax, yes. So permission organizing, this is also something that is valuable. Let's open WSL. Help me with writing, with defining generic permissions for Claude Code. What should be denied, what should be allowed, and what should be asked. Let's do, I didn't open Claude Code, I just opened Tmax, so let me remove this, open. Help me with organizing the default permissions, deny, approve, ask. So basically I did this already, but I'm just showing you what I believe you should do. This way you can mess around with the different permissions. Let me see, permissions. And make sure that some actions are automatically being executed without needing to give permission every time. Next thing is Planotator. Planotator is very, very valuable. Let's do like this. So when you switch to plan mode, help me plan all end-to-end tests. As soon as you ask it to plan anything, so originally it just shows you the plan in the terminal, which is very hard to adjust. Basically, it gives you in numbers, so I usually write 1 skip, 2 don't care, 3 yes, but make sure it's in Python, not blah blah blah. So you start doing this way. Now, in opposing to answering like this, Plan Annotator opens a new tab, so everything is well designed, and not only it's well designed, it also allows you to comment on specific aspects and features that are provided in the plan, and you can also add images to certain points, and based on this, Claude Code is going to execute the new plan. So it's just like I think it's I call it a UX UI upgrade for planning, but it also makes the whole planning experience not only seamless, but it also makes it more accurate. So this is one thing. Definitely make sure to download Plan Annotator. And the next thing that I want to show you is Show Me, which is actually a plugin that I created. Also very valuable in my opinion, otherwise I wouldn't build it. So what Show Me does, whenever you want to show Claude something, you write Show Me, and it's going to open a new tab in the browser. And what you can do here, you have a few options. You can either paste, let's say this is my website, you can paste it here. And let's say I want to adjust only something specific here. BMad method, change font to David. So you can add as many annotations as you would like, and the plugin knows the coordinates of the annotation. Based on this, it guides exactly what you want to fix. Remove this. So this is first capability. Obviously, you can add text, background should be pink, and you can also add general notes. How much is 2 plus 2? And the good thing about this is that you can add multiple pages or images. So let's say you have one page, and over here you have a competitor that you would like to use as inspiration. Use this page as inspiration. This is my competitor. And then you can send everything to Claude. And Claude is going to analyze it. It asks me if it can read the image. So the image is sent, the annotations, and the general notes. And you will see in a moment how like the results that it yields. Okay, so you can see here. So page 1, BMad method GitHub. I can see a screenshot of the BMad GitHub repo. Annotation 1, add coordinates X and Y. Change font to David. The pin is pointing to a BMad method heading. You want the font changed to David. Annotation 2, the pin is pointing to the deployment section. On the right, you want this section removed. Page 2, this page appears to be blank. You mentioned this is your competitor's page, blah, blah, blah. And global notes, 2 plus 2 is 4. Then it asks me a few questions, and obviously we can enter plan mode, and it will plan accordingly. Moving forward, Plan Annotator, Show Me, and Beads. Next is Beads. This is actually a valuable repo, Beads GitHub. And what Beads does, it gives you a memory upgrade for your coding agent in general. So basically what it does, it creates GitHub tasks or GitHub issues for your project, and basically it creates all the issues and it writes the dependencies between the issues and the priorities between the issues. And because it is not saved, it is saved also locally. It has like a SQLite capability, but because it is also saved in your directory and also in GitHub, basically you have a moving context window and the tasks are not being forgotten. So since every task has an issue and you can always fetch the tasks, you see you have the epics, you have the task, and you have the subtasks. Now whenever you open the repository again and want to start working again, what you just need to do, you just write bd ready, and it lists all the tasks that have no blockers, that have no dependencies. So this way, when you build a project and you have many tasks and many epics, everything is being saved also in GitHub and also locally, and then you can just pick up from the next point in time, from the next task that you need to execute. So this is actually very valuable. I'm using this a lot still and need to optimize my workflow, but is already yielding good results, and I highly recommend that you check it out. It's called Bees. Very easy to find, good documentation. As you can see, it's already being widely adopted. And I think the last thing that I didn't mention is ask a question, which I think I obviously discussed this already in previous videos, but is still working very well for me. Use the ask question tool to ask me as many questions as possible in order to plan this feature. So this way you kind of brainstorm with Claude and you prompt it to ask you questions. If you don't prompt it to ask questions, so sometimes it would ask, sometimes it won't, but this really helps me to brainstorm ideas. So I use the I prompted to use the ask question tool very often, and I highly recommend that you do as well. Let's wait until it finishes. As you can see, what type of project is this? Website, documentation site, etc. Component library. Which specific code-based repository should I work on? For clone, styling, font fallback, etc., etc. Then it will ask, it's going to analyze my responses, and now it's going to ask follow-up questions, which is very, very valuable. Yes, I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover. That's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, obviously like and subscribe. Make sure to drop a comment below with any additions, any valuable stuff that you've been doing. Maybe if you found Ralph Wiggum to be useful in a specific workflow, let me know and drop it in the comment section. Yeah, that's it. Until next time, keep on automating.